news. Hello there, dear friends. I am, of course, Adam Clery, joined by...
Adam Nicholas, hello.
And we are here with your hashtag Good After News. Coming up for you today, we have a hot slice of what you could have won at WrestleMania 35.
Corey Graves has been at it once again on Twitter.
Everything you say to me brings me one step closer to learning Aleister Black's opponent at Extreme Rules, and I'm about to break.
But first, just got so excited there, I was going to interrupt you there. But first, John Moxley has been on another podcast and has revealed his thoughts about the creative process in WWE, AEW, and more. Now, this one is interesting because John Moxley, as we know, has already done a bunch of podcasts where he has done a whole lot of pew, 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 shooting on various people, aka Vince McMahon and his good it's the after news, no swearing. But he has been at it again, this time talking about the process, and I've got a few quotes here, some select quotes, some longer than others, but very worth your time because it's very interesting indeed. Specifically, a little shooting on Vince. But let's get into this one. He was on the Store Horseman podcast, so check that out if you haven't already. And he basically said, to begin, authenticity might be the number one, he said, because you can apply that to the whole product. Every wrestler is going to be different in the ring, different on the mic. A lot of people are great for different reasons. What makes them great, whether it be in AEW or WWE, is if you let them be themselves. Don't put them in some box. That is what AEW is going to do. We have so much great talent, and that talent is going to shine very bright. He's still got more to say.
He's got a lot of thoughts.
All of these people are giving opinions. This is Ari, his character in WWE. All of these people are giving opinions and input. No one is asking me on my opinion. I'm like the lowest guy on the totem pole when really it should only matter to me. As long as I'm not dropping F-bombs or anything like that, they should do it my way. There are a few different cooks in the kitchen. There are very few cooks in the kitchen in AEW, he says. There's the producers and Tony Khan, and he is really involved and very passionate, but ultimately, nobody is telling anybody what to do. And just to clip a tiny little bit on the end that he spoke about Vince McMahon in terms of the contrast between those two, he said, the only problem I really had with anybody was Vince. That's not even an actual problem. If he called me and asked what I'm doing, how it's going, I'd be like, hey, what's up, man? It would be cool. We never had a conversation that didn't involve wrestling, but he did go on to say that he and Vince were no longer on the same page when it came to creative terms.
How much of this do you think sort of a bit of character work? Because obviously Moxley, the whole Moxley gimmick is I've been constrained in this horrible sports entertainment company, and now I'm alive and all of that. How much of that?
And all that kind of thing. Yeah, I think he's just excited to be able to do that, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's unleashed. I think eventually he's going to have to stop, surely, because...
But he's got to move on eventually.
He's got to move on eventually, yes. And I think maybe he's just getting it out of his system. But you can tell, I think he's passionate specifically about the process because that's his whole thing as a wrestler. He just wanted to be able to do his own thing and win or lose or get over or not get over based on his character that he's created.
Now, as excited as I get whenever any wrestler with any SEO value shoots on WWE,
Indeed.
This is... I mean, we'll have to pick through more of this later on in the week, but it definitely looks like there's something quite interesting in this. The fact that he's going to be still getting drawn on comments about WWE, where the gap between, and certainly after his debut at Double or Nothing, you think, yeah, fair enough, like, you know, it's relevant, it's part of the story. But now, you know, he's starting in the G1 this weekend, he's had his New Japan debut, he's already the hottest property in wrestling without needing that association with WWE. So to get drawn, doing wrong, you get asked a question, you answer it. That's fair enough, but yeah, just...
Well, people want the gossip, don't they? They want to see what his opinions are.
We do,
and they did, in fact, ask him about what his thoughts were on Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman signing with WWE in the... I say signing, you know what I mean, moving up to a bit of capacity in some department. He said the following: Eric Bischoff was behind the NWO, also presided over some crappy WCW shows. He's WCPW, I thought.
See, that's interesting. He doesn't take issue with his WCPW run
because he had a good time.
Yeah, because it was good. Yeah.
He says he's probably very motivated to make you forget that part of his resume. The more wrestling that is good, the more fans that there are, and the better it is for everybody. And on Paul Heyman, he said they definitely made some kind of move. Paul Heyman is really smart. It sounds like that's a great idea. I just hope Vince lets them do their ideas. So basically, he doesn't want... You can understand the frustrations he thinks that are going to be applied to these guys who he's hoping aren't just being put in a position.
This is every single quote anyone's given about the Bischoff and Heyman appointments is always, Paul Heyman, great guy, a lot of good ideas, blah, 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 and then Bischoff's Bischoff.
Something disparaging about
well, not
Bischoff,
disparaging, just like, I will... Eric Bischoff's
He's a
Eric
guy.
Bischoff. Speaking of weird ideas, we nearly got some at WrestleMania 35.
That was good.
That's come out in the last 2 days. Individually, not really all that interesting, but now there seems to be 2 or 3 all coming together at the same time. So it sort of looks like the original idea for WrestleMania 35 had been quite different to the finished product. Like we've heard many times that the whole Lesnar-Rollins thing going on first was a last-minute decision, and even Bliss and Hogan didn't know that Paul Heyman was going to interrupt them prior to going out on stage. But two matches that could have had a very different complexion were the first one involving Triple H and Batista. You remember that 20-minute Stone Cold 5-star classic that was.
Easily favourite match.
Plus entrances. That was originally designed, apparently, to be a Hell in a Cell match, we have learned today. Some quotes from Big Dave saying that's what him and Hunter originally pushed for that match. Would that have been good?
Well, because that's what they needed, wasn't it? More time and more pomp and more grandiose kind of nature on the whole thing. I don't know.
Look, they did a lot. Obviously, there was a lot of like extreme, edgy spots in it. He pulled his nose out, and there was a toolbox, and then he started hitting the announce table with that chain near his back, and it was just. I don't know if that necessarily needed. I don't know if that would have been improved, shall we say, by the addition of a ceremonial lowering of the cell.
No, I mean, not for me personally, and I think.
Where would you put it? Like,
well, I was alone. I think that might have been one of the issues because I had the massive big thing in the way already.
Wasn't it? I never understand how you do that when you're not doing an indoor show.
I think Vince's whole pattern was he didn't really want to murky the water with the fact that they've got Hell in a Cell already, haven't they? So they're pay-per-view specifically for it. So
another match though that I actually think would have been marginally better for having this inclusion. Apparently, Natalya and Beth Phoenix were a late addition to this match, and the original team that was supposed to be the fourth members of that women's tag team four-way tag team match was supposed to be the Bella Twins. Which, when you think about it, makes a lot more sense than just because Natalya and Beth Phoenix, obviously there is a connection there, there's a family connection thrown in together. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense at the time, but still, it was worth it to see Beth Phoenix back in. But apparently, the original pitch is supposed to be Sasha and Bayley, Nia and Tamina, the Iconics, and then the Bella Twins with the Iconics picking up the win, and then going on a feud for a little while with the Bellas. Which, jeez, I would have people would have done their nut over that, given the level of talent that would have been sort of putting to the side, especially with the Sasha and Bayley revelations afterwards. But I would definitely watch an Iconics Bella Twins feud, especially over the title. But alas, it was not to be because there was injury updates for the pair of them. Heading into that, it was decided they weren't safe enough to be working in that match, and we didn't get it in the end. But I don't like that. They could do it down the line somewhere.
Do you think that maybe explains why there's been such a gap between the Iconics actually doing much with the belt?
There's clearly been no actual plan.
They didn't have a plan
belt,
instead of that. They just rushed Beth Phoenix.
Obviously, not being able to do a sort of Bayley-Sasha feud with them immediately afterwards, like just the two tag teams, because Sasha wanted to take time away and Bayley not even being too sure what she was doing. So it's been obvious they've not had a natural... Because they didn't want to put them in Nia and Tamina immediately afterwards because they've just... Not for any disparaging reason, but just because they'd just been in the title picture. Beth and Natalya were sort of a one-off thing, and there wasn't really any natural tag team to go straight into that, unfortunately.
I think it's a shame because Beth and Natalya do work.
They were great.
I think actually being Beth Phoenix massively involved in the finish of the match, and they did a great job, but... I don't know.
The Iconics illegal.
The Iconics. Oh God, what a moment that was! What a moment that was on young Will Bourne's face. But yes, something great could have come out of that, but unfortunately did not. Speaking of stuff that did and did not happen, totally just forced it into there.
Everything is technically something that did or did not happen.
That's why it was a safe bet.
That's good. I like that.
Corey Graves, your best friend and mine, has been at it again, once again on Twitter. The man just can't help himself, but this time. I think I actually might be agreeing with him on this one.
I've seen the tweet.
I feel like it depends. I mean, the way he's covered it, I guess.
Yes.
They seem fairly close.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I can see when. Anyway, let's give you the quote.
Do you want to recount the tweet?
Yes. Let's you make your mind up for it. So first of all, we have the initial tweet that started it all off from Millennial Jew, who's out on Twitter there, who said, Stephanie McMahon, as a female fan of, who added all people, of course, in this, Stephanie McMahon, as a female fan of WWE, I would really appreciate it if you could ask WWE Graves to talk to Renee Young like she's a human being and not a doormat when on commentary. She deserves better. So obviously a fan very upset with Graves'...
I'm sure Corey Graves gets a million tweets like that all the time.
All the time. That's the one thing I would say. He gets them all the time. However, this one seems to have particularly caught him on a good day as he's tweeted back out. As Corey Graves, I would really appreciate it if you just let my best friend Renee Young and I do our jobs and have fun instead of trying to turn it into an effing social issue. So, rattled a little bit by this one. There's a lot of that going on in WWE at the minute. People getting rattled by the wrestling community and the world in general. But for me, I see what he's saying. He's playing a character on commentary. But I also, certainly my personal thing when it comes to people who tweet at us in certain ways is just don't fight.
Like, this is the thing.
I don't know.
Corey Graves is not wrong with what he's saying there.
No.
Like, he's basically pointing out, I am a heel commentator. Renee Young is a face commentator. I am supposed to be disparaging towards him. That is the dynamic of every single commentary booth in all of wrestling. He is right what he's saying, but just...
Does it need to be said?
No, look, you've worked them.
Yeah.
That's your job. Yeah. Just be happy that you've worked. If you get loads of tweets like that, so long as your boss is upstairs on saying, think you should rein that in a bit because it's coming off a bit bit weird.
What would be interesting would be to get possibly Renee's side of this, or to say anything.
To be fair, if Renee had come out and said then maybe it's a little bit better, but just don't be so bothered, Corey.
It's just getting caught up in it.
I can only assume he must get so many of these, and this is simply the straw that's broke the camel's back.
And listen, everybody has a day. I know that Simon Miller has even had days where he's had that many of certain things, and he finally has to sign up back because he just can't help himself every now and again.
I felt bad. I did dunk on someone the other week, and I never. As a rule, I never do it. Never do it. It was about 9:30. It was a Saturday night. I'd had a drink, and I was like, do you know what?
Exactly.
You're giving us an open goal here. I'm just going to take it.
How do we know he wasn't just sat at the airport waiting for his flight, having a few...
Listen, pal, the only meltdown that's going on here is my ice cream that trickled down my arm as I laugh at all the haters.
And that's how it should be.
It's a drill tweet.
But unfortunately not. So yes, once again, more stuff going on.
And speaking of stuff that's going on, Extreme Rules, great actually. Extreme Rules is just around the corner. We are getting this long-awaited opponent for Aleister Black. He's been sitting in his little room. He's been quoting The Bard. Fascinating. Someone played Knocky 9 doors with him, but we are apparently, instead of just leaving this as a nice surprise for Sunday and thus making my job on Last Minute Rumours considerably easier, apparently it is going to get revealed on television this week. We have learned today. Aleister Black's opponent for Extreme Rules is going to be given to us, thus removing the surprise element from the pay-per-view. Now, I severely hope this isn't true, because, as I say, I've got a job to do at the end of the week, and if we don't know who the actual opponent is, that's about 5 different entries I can do
on
Last Minute Rumours.
Because we make bank off that. We do
make bank off that, yeah.
So they know, they've seen it.
They know they're trying to take away our livelihood. But the names that are doing the rounds, we've obviously heard Cesaro was a big one, getting peddled on. An unlikely return for Sheamus after his layoff with injury. Randy Orton as a name is being put about. A few people suggesting Ali, because he too has been shooting these little vignettes. And it's a weird one because the talent at their disposal, who do not have a match or do not have a feud, who would be fine to go into this, possibly even to set up something with him at SummerSlam, is not a short list.
No.
And yet somehow, it wasn't a short list for who could referee the main event at Stomping Grounds either, and that still somehow managed to
worked out really
slightly disappoint everybody. So, WWE, don't do the thing that we think.
There's a lot of risk involved.
Yeah, just please don't. Please don't. Who would you like to see?
Anyone but Lacey Evans in that match.
I disagree entirely. I would quite happily see Aleister Black versus Lacey Evans.
You say that for the banter, but when it came to the crunch, you'd be very upset.
The crunch. How dare you speak to me of the crunch? You've never even been to the crunch.
You've never even seen it. You've never even seen it.
Little day trip around the crunch. We can all go as tourists. We're getting off topic here. Did you get any Twitter questions lined up?
Did I? Bollocks.
I've got a great one for you if you can stall for 10 seconds for me.
I can stall for 10 seconds. Let me tell you about what you can find on our... I'm not going to do that. I was about to start plugging things relentlessly. You could like, share and subscribe while you're waiting for all of this. And actually, while we're on, just to give you a little update, I don't know if you talked about this in the previous news, but Adam Wilborn's wedding was lovely.
It was lovely, genuinely lovely.
We had a very nice time, and we had thank you to everyone who sent in well wishes on Twitter or anywhere else where you might have managed to find them. I'm not going to ask about that. But I watched people with signs as well.
Yes, we did on the first news. You can check out this morning's early news for that. Anyway, here's a question.
Come on then.
Sasha Banks' imminent return. We reported on this morning. We think she's going to be something to do with SummerSlam. She's been featured on the promotional material. She's rumoured to be coming back anyway, so we're expecting that in the near future. What do you, Adam Nicholas, think of Sasha Banks stripping Bayley of the SmackDown Women's title at SummerSlam and then enjoying a marvellous heel run?
I did not know where you were going with that,
did you?
There was a panic look as I looked in your eyes.
That's from Antonio Pizza
so stripping
to Mr. and Mrs. Pizza.
Stop it.
Antonio.
So stripping out the title.
Winning it, let's say.
It at SummerSlam.
Yes. Then going on a long heel run.
I mean, why not? That doesn't sound like a bad thing to me. Bayley's great. Sasha's great. We know they can put the chemistry together in terms of the actual matches. Just look at the two of these most standout matches in the women's division in however many years those two had. Both take over Brooklyn and take over Respect. I'm not against it. I'll always be happy to see it, but the problem is, I guess, Sasha's coming back.
Yes.
Her and Bayley have been like stuck in this duality forever and ever. And I just feel like it would be great, but also as long as they're going to book something long term.
All I'll say for the Sasha Bayley issue is that we know you can put them together as either a team or as opponents, and something good will happen.
Yeah.
However, how refreshing did Sami Zayn's latest character reinvention feel for being a heel and still being Sami Zayn? And how fresh has Kevin Owens' latest character reinvention felt for being a face but still being Kevin Owens, and them both being kept what looks like being apart for the foreseeable? I would love to see some kind of take no prisoners, face Sasha Banks, maybe even steering her in the direction that we thought they were going to do with Becky for a little while doing an obnoxious, smiley, entitled heel Bayley.
Well, here is something you've stumbled on just there. Sasha and Becky, is money.
That's what I want.
That's money
what I want
right
next,
there to me. And I've seen enough Sasha and Bayley, and I love those two. I'll watch a match if any time. It'll be great. But why not let them have completely separate people? Keep them apart. Hell, keep them apart until WrestleMania. If Sasha Banks is in fact coming back and is going to stay, give them a big blow-up match, because they missed out on the main event this year at WrestleMania. I'm not saying put them in the main event in the next year's WrestleMania.
I'm not saying don't do that.
But I'm not saying don't either, because they'll tear the house down and they'll be hungry for it. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, speaking of hungry for it, I'm hungry to end this video.
Man.
So, as a final and finally, even though we did do it at the start today, I'd like to wish Wilborn all the best again. Can't wait to have you back, buddy, so I don't have to do any more of your goddamn podcasts. Anyway, let us know what you make of all the news in the comments below, and of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But in the meantime, though, thank you so much for watching. I've been Adam Clery. You can get me on Twitter at Adam Clery.
And I'm Adam Wilborn, and you can get me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn, or our good friend Adam Nicholas, who you can find at It's Adam Nicholas.
We're all, of course, at What Culture WWE. But in the meantime, that is it for the after news. Hashtag good after news. And we'll see you soon.